What is going on, guys? My name is Matt Pinella, better known as MattBangsWood, and today I am here to show you some do's and don'ts of using a saw. Now, having the ability to use a saw is going to do a few things. One, it's going to make you more money. If you're able to cut and you're able to keep up with guys, you're going to make more. That's obvious. Two, it has the ability to kill you. Now, I say that in the nicest possible way, but in my years of doing construction, I have seen some terrible accidents with saws, and really you don't understand what this little thing can do to you until you've seen what it does to yourself or others. Now, I do want to share the worst accident that I have seen firsthand, because right off the bat, that's enough to tell you, hey, maybe I should know what I'm doing prior to going around swinging this thing. One of the guys I was working around had a line brace set up on top of a wall. He thought it was nailed. It wasn't. He went to go pick up the end of the line brace to chop it down and make it a little bit shorter. When he did that, keep in mind, Makita wasn't making these cordless saws back then, so he was using the standard Mag 77 from Skillsaw. But when he picked up the line brace, it fell off the wall. So as soon as he went to go make his cut, the saw bounced and went straight through his wrist. It cut through the first bone, damn near all the way through the second bone, and his arm was left dangling. Squirting blood everywhere, bone in the saw, skin everywhere. It was by far one of the worst accidents I have ever seen on a job site. Just to clear this up, this was not on one of our projects. My dad was not the general on this build. Unfortunately, it happened, and I think everybody that day learned a little bit from it. And from that day forward, I have been 10 times safer with saws. Now that we are through with that, let's drop into some do's and don'ts of using a saw. So you're gonna see a couple saws in my videos. You're gonna see this beam saw behind me. This is the 16 and 5/16 Super Sasquatch from Skillsaw. Love that dang thing. And then you're gonna see this little guy quite a bit. This is the 36 volt from Makita. Now this saw is killer for teaching new guys. It has an electric brake on it that stops damn near instantly. Check it out. Now, as long as they take their finger off of that trigger quick enough, they might save themselves a limb. Now, I've got some little material set up here. I'm going to show you guys a few tips and tricks, show you some bad mistakes that people commonly make, and hopefully by the end of this video, you took something from it. That's the goal. You always want your cutoff to drop. Whether I'm taking 2 inches off or 4 feet, you want that 4 foot or that 2 inches to fall. And the reason being, if I made a cut right here, right now, which I'll do for you guys in just a second, what's going to happen is the saw blade's actually going to bind up by the 2 pieces dropping, pinching that blade. What it'll do is cause that saw to jump back at you. That is the first and most common mistake we see with new guys. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Always wear safety glasses, carrying protection if you're into that kind of thing. Personally, I'm not, but I'm not knocking those who are. I have one 2x4 under here, one 2x4 over here. We're gonna make a simple cut through right here, and you guys are gonna see exactly what I'm talking about when I say the board's gonna bind and pinch that saw blade. Guaranteed this cut will not go through. The reason being, it's pinching that saw blade in there. Always make sure your cutoff drops. With this piece under here, this is now gonna drop. Everything will go really nice. So like I said, that is one of the most common mistakes, is seeing guys trying to make cuts in between here, and the binding from both sides dropping causes that pinch in the blade. Guaranteed it's not going to work out right, and in some cases, depending on what you're cutting, that saw might just jump back out and bite you. Now the second thing I'm going to talk about here, you'll see guys walking around, finger on the trigger, happy as can be, overly confident. Only put your finger on that trigger if you're about to make a cut. When you're packing a saw around, do not keep your finger on the trigger. This is called trigger discipline right here. You want to treat this thing like a loaded handgun. This thing will kill you, and it can kill you. Always keep your finger off to the side. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, is watching framers carry around saws, especially skill saws that don't have this little button here. They carry them around with their finger on the trigger. It takes one little accident. Pull that trigger and catch that thing right there in your thigh, you're toast. Now the next thing we're going to talk about, you don't ever want your hand behind the saw. Wouldn't suggest putting it in front either, and I don't suggest holding onto your table at all. I am going to show you a trick involving your table here in just a second, but keep your hands away from this thing. One of the more common things we'll see, guys will be ripping stuff, and you'll see their hand behind here holding this. Now what's going to happen, in the case that this saw jumps, it's going straight to your hand. Alright guys, on to the next thing. Checking your depth. chances are you have done it yourself. I've done it myself. I still do it from time to time, but it is a very bad habit. Checking the depth of your saw with your fingers. Always check it with your dang eye. If you stick your finger under there and somehow you're not thinking miraculously pull that trigger, you're gonna lose a couple digits. Always take the time to adjust with your eye, no matter if it takes 10 seconds longer, that ain't gonna kill you. What will kill you is sticking your hand under that blade and accidentally firing the thing up. Another quick little thing, anytime you're ripping down long material, whether it be sheets or just taking 1.5 inches off of a 2x4, I highly suggest tacking a nail on the very, very end of it to where you don't end up with that thing slipping and sliding around. Something as simple as one little nail will prevent this from moving as easy. That way you can make your rip nice and safely and your material's not moving around as you're trying to cut. And here's another one for the list. You guys have talked to me about this a lot on the YouTube comments here. Pinning your guard, I don't suggest doing it. Out here in California, you'll find a lot of people pinning their guards simply because it's how they grew up doing it. Personally, I do agree that you can make cuts a heck of a lot easier with the guard up. There's nothing getting in your way. At the same time, in the case that something bad happens and this saw jumps back, there is absolutely nothing protecting you from that blade. Now, the accident that I told you about earlier where someone dang near lost a limb, his guard was pinned. Had his guard not been pinned, there's a chance that that guard might have slid right across the top of his arm. It might not have ever happened. And the last thing I have to add is always respect your tools. You have no idea what a saw will do to you until you see it done to yourself or somebody else. In the case like I brought up earlier, someone losing a limb and dang near losing their life due to blood loss is something that'll really hit home. You'll never want to see another accident like that again. And I promise you, had you seen that, you'd feel the very same way. Safety with a saw is something we take very seriously. So now that we've gone over a couple things that I really don't like seeing people do with saws, I'm going to go over a couple of tips and tricks for you guys and show you some things that I use dang near every day to help make life easy. In almost every one of my videos, you've probably seen me cut over my foot. It's something that I do quite a bit. It's something that I'm very used to. I'm really not comfortable cutting on sawhorses because with production framing, typically you don't have sawhorses set up. So almost everything I do is cut off of my foot, whether it be big LVLs, small 2x4 like this. I cut, I'd say 90% of the time off my foot. Now when you're cutting over your foot, I highly suggest steel toe boots. Most of the time you guys see me wearing Vans, but let me tell you, a 14-inch LVL on a pair of toes doesn't feel very good. Cutting with steel toe boots, you really can't feel a thing. Now these boots in particular are called Ever boots. I will have a couple nice little shots of them put right up over there. These are steel toe boots, brand new, just came out. These are super affordable, super comfortable, and yes, I am about to throw a link in here and hook you guys up. My birthday is on August 9th. If you guys want to spam me down in the comments below, happy birthday, I would appreciate the heck out of it. Now these boots just came out and I've partnered up with Ever Boots to give you guys a discount code to hook yourselves up on a pair of boots. In the description below, I am going to have a link to these boots. If you want to buy a pair, drop down there and use discount code MattWoods15. If you guys want to buy a pair, drop down in the description below, click that link, but first, watch the end of this video. Don't go yet, please. Now, like I said, you guys have seen me cut over my foot a million times. Now, I just taught Quentin how to cut over his foot as well because he's been using the saw quite a bit more. It's taking time though. One thing I noticed he was doing was similar to my 2x4 references where you have two on the outside and you're cutting through the center and it binds up. He was doing the same exact thing with his foot. He had the piece of material that he was trying to make his cut on hitting the ground and he had the other piece on his foot. That doesn't work. I'll show you. Doesn't work at all. You guys have seen me do it here on YouTube quite a bit. So you want to hold it back here nice and safe. Make your cut out here. Just realized I didn't have safety glasses on when I did that. Don't hound me. So cutting over your foot is a really efficient way. Personally, it's what I do damn near 90% of the time. So now that we've gone over cutting over your foot, I want to show you guys a pretty cool method for getting degrees bigger than what your saw can cut. This little thing can cut a 53 degree. If you need more than that, say you need a 60 degree cut, I'm going to show you guys how right now. So this saw goes up to 53 degrees. Say we need to make a cut at 60 degrees. Obviously, this saw is not going to be able to cut it. So what we're going to have to do is a pretty cool little trick here, and I guarantee you, you guys can impress some people on site by doing this. So I'm gonna teach you guys something here real quick. Everything in construction is based off of 90 degrees. So here's what we're gonna do. You take 60, subtract it from 90. What does that give you? Gives you 30 degrees. Set your saw to 30 degrees. Make that cut. Now you're probably thinking, why the heck did I make that cut on 30 degrees when I needed 60? So now that you've made your cut 30 degrees that way, now set your saw back to 0, and what you're gonna do is make a cut along that line up there. And there you have it. This one didn't come out too clean, I'm kind of bummed out. But subtract whatever number you're trying to get from 90. Take that number, make your pass first, then cut back the other way. That'll leave you with whatever you're after. In this case was 60 degrees. Go ahead and set our depth. Something right about there. Now, if you needed to rip 1.5 inches off of this piece here, or even 1 inch, regardless of what it is, most of the time people would snap a line or scribe a line all the way down. You don't need to do that. You have these marks on the front of your saw here for a very good reason. You have 1 inch marked out right there, 0 is marked there, 45 for making 45-degree cuts, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, so on and so forth. Now this is the one time it's okay to touch the table of the saw while you're cutting. Take it slow, get used to it before you go crazy with it. We're actually gonna hold the edge there while we're making our rip. And that right there is how to get perfect 1.5 inch rippers every single time. You can do it with sheathing, you can do it with 2x4s, any material you need to rip, anything you're taking 1.5 inches off of, or say you need 1.5 inches, do that little trick right there. Be careful though, get used to it before going nuts with it. Now in the case that you need to make something smaller like 1 inch, you'll see guys pinch the table right there, and that's perfectly fine too, as long as you don't end up throwing your hand underneath the saw. Pinch it, make sure you're holding on nice and tight, and you could rip 1 inch just as easy. Now I have one more pretty cool trick here that I want to show you guys before we end this video. Anytime you're sheeting out a roof or a deck, whatever you may be doing, every now and then you have to plunge cut. Now what a plunge cut is taking the saw and plunging down into it. That's called a plunge cut. Now a lot of people set their depth, then make their plunge cut, and they don't exactly know where that cut's going to start. Now the cool thing is on these saws, there's actually a little mark here telling you when you plunge cut where that blade's going to start. So let's say we needed to plunge cut from here. We'll go out 1 inch. Now you don't want to go past this line, but you need to start there and work your way that way. If you put that mark right where you need to start and plunge cut, take you guys off of here for a second. You'll see that the saw blade actually stopped right where our black mark was. It's that little notch right there. You put that to wherever you need to start your plunge cut at. Start your plunge cut, and guaranteed that's where the end of that blade's going to be. Super awesome thing to know when you're making plunge cuts. Give me 1 second. Alright, so we went over a few things that I cannot stand seeing people do when it comes to making saw cuts or using a saw in general. And I also went over a few tips and tricks that I personally use, and I'm hoping you're able to pick those up and use them yourself. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, drop a comment down below and I'll help you out as good as I can. I had to get the few saws that I had in the truck out to simply state that no matter what saw you're using, whether it be a cordless Makita, another cordless Makita, the 7 1/4 from Skill Saw, the 10 1/4 from Skill Saw, the 16 5/16 from Skill Saw, every saw is the same. Treat them all the same no matter what. Obviously the beam saw is a little bit of a different animal. If you guys really want tips on how to use that thing, I'd be glad to make that video as well, but I really hope you guys were able to take something from this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a big old thumbs up. Drop a comment down below, say what's up. My birthday's on the 9th if anyone wants to shout me out for that. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel here. We hit 13,000 and we are going through the roof. It's incredible. I cannot thank you guys enough. And along with that boot deal that I shared from Everboots, awesome company. You can follow them on Instagram. Their info is right over here. Click that link down in the description below. Use discount code MattWoods15. Get you guys a pair of new boots. If you pick up a pair, let me know. Send me a picture of them when you first get them. Guaranteed you're gonna love these boots. But as you guys know, everything has to come to a close, so that is all we have time for today. Now, if you guys have any video requests whatsoever, whether it be how to do a certain task, how to properly use tools, or anything, drop a comment down below and let me know. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MattBangsWood. I will see you guys next time. Bang on.